Most of you know about Henry Ford, or if I say Henry Ford, you know who I'm talking about. You know the guy that started the Ford Motor Company. Anyway, Henry Ford, actually, there's something you probably didn't even know about Henry Ford, is that before he started Ford Motor Company, he actually tried to create two businesses before that. And they failed, completely failed. They were like, they were automobile companies I was trying to start, and he completely failed at them. But the thing about Henry Ford is he didn't give up. And because he didn't give up, he ended up building the Ford Motor Company. And what does that have to do with us today? Well, in just a little bit you'll find out.
Sweet! We're watching the Wizive show.
Now, before I go into detail on exactly what Henry Ford has to do with the point that I'm trying to bring out today, I got to start at the beginning. And the beginning starts like this. Before you were even born, God spoke into your spirit His plan for you, what He wanted for you to do. And that's plan. Let's imagine that plan as a straight line. This is the straight line that God has for you. From the time you're born to the time you die, this is the plan that God has for you. Now, Satan's job is what he wants to do is to get us completely off of that plan so that we're not following that straight path that God has for us. And so what happens is he'll try to, anything that he can use against us, he'll try to use it against us. Like for me, he even used like my dad's death against me and trying to tell me I'm not good enough. And so he tries to make us believe certain lies so we take steps that go off of that path. But God has a certain path for us. Now, there's one guy that I think about in the Bible when I think about this, and that is David. See, God had this plan for him to be king over Israel. Now, if you look at David's life, how many times did it look like he's not going to reach his goal, like he's not going to reach it? Because, Saul was trying to kill him, and then the big thing was, I think the big thing was when he was with the Philistines, and the Philistines and Israel were at war, and David was going to go fight for the Philistines, and the Philistines sent him back. But when he got back to his town or his city that he had, which was Ziklag, then he got back to that, and it was burned down. The Amalekites had come and taken everything that they had. I mean, their women, their children, everything that they had looted the place, and it was burning. And in a time like that, that was a really low point in David's life, and that was a time that I think the devil was trying to use to try to tell David, I'm going to make sure that you don't become king. That's what the devil was trying to do, is trying to keep him from becoming king. But here's what David could have given up right then. Just like Henry Ford could have given up before he actually started the Ford Motor Company. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to bring out here, is that David, he lost pretty much everything right there. And it says that the people were actually thinking about stoning him because they were so mad at him for leading them like this, and they lost everything. Why didn't they keep some people back there to keep Ziklag in place or something? But David didn't give up. What he did instead is he found strength in the Lord. Those are the key words if you read that chapter, which I'll cover that verse in a little bit later. But those are the key words in that verse. And it's, let me see, 1 Samuel 6, verse 6, if you want to look it up. And again, as I said, I'll cover it in a little bit later. But it says that David found strength in the Lord. He didn't give up. Instead, he found strength in the Lord. And because of that, he went and he defeated the Amalekites, and he got back everything that he had, and he kept on his straight path that God had for him. So he could have very easily completely stepped off that path and completely given up and maybe believed the lie that I'm not good enough to lead people. I mean, I messed up here. I'm not good enough to lead people anymore. And he could have believed that lie that I'm sure Satan was trying to tell him. And if he would have believed that lie, then chances are that he would have made decisions to just kind of hide out and not become king. But he stayed on this path that God had for him. See, in life, a lot of times we hit things like Ziklag. We hit when something like that happens. There's miserable things in our lives that sometimes happen. And Satan wants to use those moments, as I mentioned before, he wants to use those moments to try to get us away from that path. My question is to you is, what are you doing with those moments? Are you letting Satan tell you a lie? Are you believing the lie that Satan's telling you? Or are you moving on from that and are you standing up and finding strength in the Lord and going out and doing what God has for you? See, that's a big question. See, another thing I want to point out is, when God puts in our spirit what He wants us to do, then our spirit knows what we want to do, but we don't know. Our mind doesn't know. And as we go through life, sometimes God will reveal what He wants us to do, and other times He'll kind of come upon us. Now, for me, I actually kind of know what God wants for me. He wants for me to. I had this for a while back. I know that God wants me to be a teacher, to be a preacher, to be an evangelist, to tell people about Jesus Christ and to be His messenger, and to do it in the U.S. I don't feel called to go to Africa. There are some of you that maybe feel called to do that. Go do it. If you feel called to do it, go do it. Usually, if you're doing something that you absolutely don't like to do, maybe it's a job or something, then it's really good chance that it's not what God has planned for you. Now, I'm not saying that it isn't or whatever, but good chance that you're a little bit off the path, and you got to get back on the path. You got to find what God wants for you, and you got to do it. And it's usually something that you enjoy doing. I enjoy teaching people. I enjoy doing this show because it's something that I really, really feel deep inside that God wants me to do. This is His plan for me, and I'm not going to give up. I could give up. When my dad died, I could have given up. I could have believed the lie that I'm not good enough, and for a while I believed that lie. But if I'd still be believing that lie, I wouldn't be making this video. Once I found out, I got rid of that lie. I renounced it. I went back. Okay, where did this lie come from? It came from back here. But even when my dad died, and it even came before that, when I was just in the kindergarten, there's this guy on my school bus that used to torture me, and I just didn't feel like it was good enough. And I believed that lie for a while, but I don't believe it anymore. I have victory over that. And you can have victory over that too. All you got to do is find strength in the Lord. That's the main thing to do. Anyway, in the comment section below, write down a couple things that we kind of believe the lies of the devil. What are some things that you believe that maybe somebody else believes? I think the biggest one is that you're not good enough. And so we don't keep on with our straight path that God has for us. Get back on the straight path.
Okay guys, the WizApp goal for today is goal number 34, and that is to find strength in the Lord and don't give up on getting back onto the line that God has for you, to the plan that God has for you. And the verse that I have that goes along with that is 1 Samuel 36. Moreover, David was greatly distressed because the people spoke of stoning him. That's a bad time in your life if people are thinking about stoning you. For all the people were embittered, each one because of his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. See, this was back when David just got back to Ziklag with all his men, and everything was gone. And people were embittered against him. They were actually going to stone him. And he could have given up right then, but he didn't. It says, David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. That's what matters. You need to strengthen yourself in the Lord your God so that you can step up and keep going.
This is the part of the show that you've been waiting for. As always, it's the biblical joke of the week time, and it's usually lame and a little bit of funny.
Okay guys, I got this joke online because nobody submitted one, so please submit your jokes. But here's how it goes. It's pretty funny. A Baptist missionary was walking in Africa when he heard the ominous patting of a lion behind him. "O Lord," prayed the missionary, "grant in thy goodness that the lion walking behind me is a good Christian lion." And then, in the silence that followed, the missionary heard the lion praying too. "O Lord," he prayed, "I thank thee for the food which I am about to receive."
I need you to submit your biblical joke so that I can have it on the show. Now, how to do that? Well, you can either go to wizive.com and contact me, or you can go to YouTube and create a video response.
This right here, this video here has been the WizIve Show. My name, as always, Justin Miller, and I'm out.